Hey survivors, I put together another 2.0 in-game Horde base that has some cool new concepts that you might want to try out. I'll show you how this killing tower chews up zombies and spits out loot bags and dead bodies. I'll show you how it was designed, put it through some tests, and show you how you can build your own. Let's check it out. Like my last base, this is not a floating base. There's no force fields that manipulate pathing. There's no infinite droppers or blocks that trick zombies into jumping on them and then falling. Instead, this is going to take a few concepts from my last build, which looks like this, and I'll link it up here in the corner. And we're going to tweak them a bit to where we have a vertical killing ground that makes every square inside this tower a kill box by using traps as efficiently as possible. I've seen some comments before that not everyone is a fan of building things. Some people just want to shoot zombies. Some other people want a completely AFK Horde base where they can just sleep through Horde night and do nothing. And some want a nice balance of the two. There's also some strange people that think this is a tower defense game. Did you know that part of the description for 7 Days to Die is that it's a tower defense game? Personally, I'm a huge fan of tower defense games like Orcs Must Die and Defense Grid. When playing those games, I love to try to build a base where nothing can get by you and you don't even have to use a weapon. To me, that shows you have great base design and trap setup. So when making this base and the last one I built, my goal was how can I design a base where nothing can get past my traps and I only have to fight as the last resort. Now that doesn't mean that you can't get your hands dirty if you want to. If you like to melee, shoot, or chuck grenades, you can do it all on this base. I'll show you later on how you can modify this for more of a hands-on approach. So I demonstrated in my last video, zombies at nightmare speed can run really fast across the catwalk to your base. Putting in an electric fence directly over the path can really slow them down. And by making them jump up and down across blocks through the electric fence is going to slow them down to a crawl. So I was thinking, how could I implement this concept vertically to where they would have to climb a tower and take damage all the way up? So first off, I tried ladders with a wire running up the middle with a dart trap underneath and above. While it was really effective, they still scaled it fairly quickly, and I wanted to slow them down even more. Also, dogs and wolves would not be able to scale the ladder. Since wires can go through any block, I thought I'd try a staircase. This would significantly slow them down and make them jump through the wires while they ascended. I also wanted to put darts above and below them too, but they won't go through blocks. That's when I realized I could use the arrow slit blocks as steps. Now I can make a tower where every block they stood on, they would get paralyzed by electricity and pelted by darts from above and below at the same time, making it a slow, agonizing ascent. Now I just had to test whether it would be effective or not. So here's the bare bones of how it's set up. Make a small concrete base at least 2 blocks high, put the electric fences on top of that, and then dart traps on top of them facing up. Then do the same in reverse above it. Now I'll go over how to build this in detail later. I just want you to have an idea of how it's set up so you can understand how it works. So I decided to test this out with concrete first to find its weaknesses before switching to steel. And I made the sides with bars so I could see what was going on inside. I could just show you the final product, but I want to show you some of the problems I ran into and save you a lot of trouble if you're going to try to build this yourself. So the first thing I did was built a generic block walkway and found with 64 enemies at the start, only a few are going to cram into the door and the others will beat on the walls. So I went with a pole out front so any excess zombies would fall off and this would regulate the flow to a number that could fit inside. Then I just built a pit under the bar so they wouldn't fall and go into rage mode or stack up underneath the bar. The next thing I found out is that the arrow slits have to be oriented to where the open part is facing where they're going to jump. Otherwise they'll just destroy. This direction does not work. I also found out in order for them to jump up they needed 2 block tall empty space or they'll just destroy. Nothing's allowed on the sides, not plate and not even a paper thin sheet on the sides. They'll see it as an obstruction and try to destroy it. Also, make sure all the bottom steps are flat side out. If they have this little opening here, they can get stuck in there. And if they get stuck, they'll destroy. Alright, so next up I made a path out of the tower to the top for anything that made it through, and I put a sledge out front to greet them in case they did. Then I added a roof and some spike traps for the birds, and I was ready to test for Horde Day. So the first thing I noticed is that loot bags were piling up and it was starting to look like a McDonald's ball pit. It looked like they were getting in the way and the zombies were swinging at them, so I'd have to deal with that. The other thing I noticed is that if someone made it past all the traps, instead of continuing up the stairs to me, they were beating on the wall because I was inside the building. The build seemed viable at this point, so I rebuilt it and gave it a facelift. I added some air ducts, which I normally use for grenade shoots, and put them at the base of the stairs. This let any bodies or loot bags fall out of the tower. I also adjusted the fighting position so the stairs ended in front of it and they wouldn't beat on the wall if I was inside. Finally, I added the Walk of Pain from my last build to the front of it, but found it was just overkill and the tower didn't get to do much killing. That, and you'd have to run downstairs or ladder to repair it, and stairs on the outside kind of kill the whole tower aesthetic, although it is a viable option if you don't care how it looks. I just recommend you cover it with plate or something, or you're going to get line of sight with cops, desert spitters, and the Frostclaw. So I decided to remove it and just stick with the tower, and so now it was time for more testing. So I set it on the most difficult Horde day possible with 64 enemies, but unfortunately I wasn't making it all the way through the night. Eventually several cops would explode or a charged zombie would beat on one of the stairs and cause it to fail. If a step fails, they can no longer climb. I was looking for ways to strengthen the steps, and I found out I could put bars over each step and they'd still be able to jump up and not attack things. This made it so a single block failure wouldn't cause the whole base to fail. So now if a step was destroyed, they could still jump on the bars and still get up the tower. Now I was making it through Horde Night about half the time without having to do any repairs. I still wasn't happy that sometimes the second or third step would sometimes fail if I had too many cops or if you had a charged zombie get stuck. So at this point I was worried the build might only be viable if I used steel, but then I thought maybe having 2 blocks open on the bottom floor was allowing too many to cram in and get stuck and they would start swinging. So I changed it to 1 block on the bottom floor and redid all the steps all the way up to the top, made a new doorway, closed out the old one, and had to move my steps as well. I also had to redo all the air ducts for the bags and bodies and put bars on everything again. This helped a ton. Now there wasn't a giant crowd stuck at the bottom of the steps and everything flowed a lot better. Now I consistently made it through Horde Night with no repairs. Next up, I wanted to be able to shoot them while they were climbing the tower. So I swapped out the solid blocks for bars and put a walkway all the way around it like I did in my test tower. I did this on all the sides, all the way up. I did have to remove a couple of the air ducts, but there are still plenty to do the job. During this process, I also had to relocate all the relays, and this is what it ended up looking like when it was all done. Also, instead of bars, you could use scaffolding ladder instead. This will let you melee zombies through them, and you can make repairs through them as well. Another added benefit is that the loot bags can fit through them as well. After that, I added some plate to it so you wouldn't get line of sight with the zombies outside. I've noticed since the 2.0 patch, plate and even paper thin sheets will block line of sight, whereas before only very thick solid blocks would. I did leave these bars on the corners here because I thought they look cool, but they can make you vulnerable to line of sight attacks. However, you could easily replace them with triangle blocks and be fully protected. With this setup, now I could descend the tower from the outside and freely shoot them while they're being electrocuted. And I'd be safe from line of sight attacks from the outside as well. Now that it was all ready, I upgraded everything to steel, gave it a nice paint job, and gave it more of a menacing dark tower or Barad-dûr sort of look from Lord of the Rings. In the process, I found out I could use the L-shaped bars to get even more protection on the steps, so I added that as well. I then ran this on several level 300 day 7000 hordes on nightmare difficulty with no fighting, and it hasn't failed me yet. This absolutely chews mobs up. With every block inside of the tower covered by a wire and a dart trap above and below, you can just kick back in the control room and repair the electric fence posts when needed and let the traps do all the work. Or you can go downstairs and get your hands dirty. Very few mobs will make it past all the traps, and if they do, it's generally not the toughest mobs, but the charged mobs that are resistant to electricity. And of those, it's generally the skinniest ones that are able to squeeze by the wires. And if they do get past, the sledge should take care of them. Also, keep in mind, if you want the XP from the electrical trap kills, you'll need to put points into advanced engineering. So if you do want to do most of the killing, I recommend you shoot from above. If you're level with the enemy or below them, they'll want to attack the bars instead of moving up the stairs, so keep that in mind if you want to melee. I recommend you let the traps do the work for you. With them paralyzed by the wires, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You can just take your time. Also, if you end up putting stairs all the way down with the scaffolding ladders, you'll be able to repair any steps that get damaged. Okay, let me give you a quick tour of the base, and then I'll show you how to build it. Alright, as you can see, I dug a pit out front. I dug it 14 blocks deep in case you're on the bottom floor and you don't want them going into rage mode. I did notice that they are still going into rage mode, even though it's really deep, so I don't know if they made any changes to it with 2.0. If you know anything about that, let me know in the comments. Alright, I'm going to take you on the same exact path that the zombies would take as they're going up the tower. They're going to have to jump up every single one of these steps, taking dart damage from above and below. Meanwhile, they're getting paralyzed by the electricity every step of the way. And I do have all the power off right now, otherwise I'd be getting electrocuted as I go up these stairs, and all the lights are off. At the top, if you try to put bars across the dart traps, it will block them from jumping and they'll go into destroy mode. That's why there's only one bar over there on the left, which I forgot to paint. I also put a little trapdoor here. If you want to use this as a fighting position, you could always make it into something better if you want. I put two little hatches here to keep enemies from coming out. As you can see, I put the engine behind this block in case anyone tries to spit on it. It won't get damaged. You could probably put a second block up there too and then put the switch up there. I just put a light bulb up there instead. With the scaffolding ladders, you can reach through and repair the electric fence, and you can also reload the dart traps from right here. All the dart traps are wired to that switch, and all the electric fences and lights are wired directly to the generator, so they're always on if the generator's on. Alright, here's a path to the inner stairway, and I put in a grenade chute right here. You can throw grenades and they'll pop down right at the entrance where the mobs are most dense, where they're coming in the front door. I painted it yellow just to make it easy to spot. When it was all black, it was hard to see it. I did have to expand this wall out a little bit to make room for that. And here's the very bottom where there's a chute where the loot bags can fall out. Okay, now I'll show you how to make the basic build. I'm not going to show you how to put all the detail that I did onto the final tower, because that would take forever. But you will be able to make a working tower and add your own artistic touch to it. Alright, we're going to start it right next to the old one because I'm probably going to have to go over there and reference how to build this. So, alright, we'll start off with 4 blocks in the center here. Actually make this like a plus sign sort of looking thing. With 2 on each side. And let's go 2 tall. There you go, it's 2 blocks high. And then we're going to need some electric fence posts. Alright, we'll put 4 of those in the center here. Alright, so after we got our fences up, we're going to put 2 layers of solid blocks all the way around. Actually, not all the way around. We're going to leave a space for a door over there. We're going to put the double doors right here. Now that we got the concrete around the edges, we're going to put 4 dart traps with the arrows pointing up. You'll have to go to advanced rotation. Alright, now you can either put solid blocks, bars, or scaffolding ladders. I like the scaffolding ladders, so we're going to use those. And they stealth nerfed the dart traps in the last patch. They used to shoot 26 blocks. Now they only shoot 11. So we're just going to leave a gap of 11 spaces between the dart trap. And I'll stick some numbers on the side here so it'll be easy to tell how tall these are. Alright, I stuck some numbers here so it's easy to see. The dart traps only shoot 11 spots now, so we're going to put the next one right above it at 12. So we don't want to stick it there yet. We'll put something here to mark it. Dart traps will be right there, which means we need our electric fences right above it. I'm not sure if it makes a difference, but I like to put them pointing down. It might give you a little more reach. Need to put some scaffolding up here so we can put them all the way out. There you go. Alright, we'll put 4 of those on block number 14. Alright, so 13 is your electric fences, and 12 will be the dart traps. Alright, then you're going to want to wire them from the bottom to the top, because the end one is the one that always gets worn out, and you're going to want to be able to repair that one. Alright, so just get your wiring tool, click on the bottom one, click on the top one, and then do that for all 4. Alright, now you can place the dart traps right underneath the electric fence, and rotate them and make sure they're pointing down. Alright, next we're going to put doors right here, and then we're going to put triangles going all the way up the top here. And I don't really need these numbers anymore. And we'll stick some triangles going all the way up to the top here too. Now we will have to delete some of these because I don't remember where everything goes, but this is the quickest way to do it. Alright, next up we're going to put 7 triangles here, but we're going to flip them around the opposite direction. Next up you want a ramp inside corner full. Put another triangle in the middle, and then another ramp inside corner full, and just flip it to the side. Then just stick some triangles all the way down. Then we'll just cover up these with some plate. Alright, so actually we need to remove 3 scaffolding ladders right here, and we're going to put 3 solid blocks here. Alright, next up, opposite of the doors, we're going to place 6 blocks, and then 1 more on the left hand side. Next up we're going to put 2 triangles facing down. These are going to be the loot and body chutes. Then we want 2 air duct ramp caps to top off the chutes. Alright, then we'll just stick some scaffolding ladders all the way up, and we will have to bust a few of these later. I just don't remember which ones. Alright, then you're going to want to put solid blocks around all these to protect your dart traps and your electric fences. Alright, then you're going to want to put scaffolding ladders in the front all the way up to the top. Then above the double doors we'll want 3 solid blocks and a triangle facing down. Alright, then we'll want another air duct ramp cap and 2 solid blocks. And I'll put this triangle back, I didn't mean to destroy that one. And we actually want some stairs here too. And we'll want some stairs on this side as well. Then we'll add another triangle to make another loot chute here. Alright, now we can start placing the stairs. We're going to use arrow slit blocks. and we're going to make sure they're all facing towards you. And these will help protect the dart traps. Alright, next up, start placing the steps, and make sure you put the flat side facing where they walk. See that little arch right there? We don't want that. Because if you have that little arch facing out, they will get stuck in there and destroy it. And I screwed up that one. And this next one here, that arch is going to have to stick out, which is fine. Because you want it solid here where they walk in. Otherwise they'll get stuck on the left. Next, make sure you keep this little arch above the walkway. If you have it turned sideways, they won't be able to jump. You can just jump down here and test it out. If you hit your head, you did it wrong. Alright, then you just want to continue the same pattern all the way up the top. Make sure the arch is where they jump up. And never put anything in these 2 blocks right here. Otherwise they'll destroy stuff. Alright, just keep doing that till you get to the top and to where there's 2 spaces left between the floor and the dart traps. And then you reach the top. Next up, we're going to put the bars on the corner, which will let you look out, but also it'll open you up to line of sight attacks, so it's up to you. You could either put those there or put solid blocks. The solid blocks by far are a lot safer. I do like the look of the bars though. And then we'll stick some on the front as well. Alright, so next up we're going to put a couple solid blocks on the top and then a triangle over the corner. And then we're going to follow the same sort of pattern all the way around. It's going to be bars in the corner, flat spot, and stairs. And you can put the loot chutes in the flat spot, or just leave them flat, depending on how many chutes you want. Alright, and I'm going to make these solid blocks because we're going to be above these and we won't need to shoot or fight through them. And we'll just continue the pattern. Bars, flat spot, stairs. Put some more bars here. There we go. And then we'll probably need to put some solid blocks right here too. Alright, now that we're getting near the top, it's going to change a little bit. We're going to put the stairs in here, knock these 2 out. Then we're going to add another stair. Then we're going to add 4 solid blocks. Then we'll add a triangle on the side and then 2 triangles underneath. And then we'll just add some stairs and a regular block above that. And here's where we're going to add our 2 little relays. Then we'll add a ramp inside corner full and then a ramp corner next to that. Then you want to add a couple solid blocks here to make a doorway, a solid block here, and then we're going to do triangles up to the top. Then we'll do a stairs filled corner right here. Okay, next up we'll put a triangle on its side and then 2 stairs leading up. Then we'll put 2 ramp corners under the stairs, knock out 2 of these scaffolding blocks, and place 2 solid blocks there. Alright, then we'll add a missing triangle here. We're going to knock out a few more of these scaffolding ladders, put in a couple more blocks, knock out another one, add another one, and then we're going to add another loot chute here, which is a triangle and an air duct ramp cap. And let's stick a solid one next to that. Alright, so we're going to remove this triangle, put a ramp inside corner full. We'll put some plate on here and make it look like a doorway. Then we'll just go ahead and cover this whole thing up. We're going to have to do this to all of them eventually. Alright, let's finish the stairs. We're going to need a triangle. I guess it's technically called a ramp. I've been calling it a triangle this whole time. And some stairs. Actually, if you want it to look better, do a ramp corner full, and then we'll put a triangle on the end of that. And then we'll put regular blocks, 2 blocks high all around the top. Alright, this is all just decoration on the top. I'm not going to explain how to do all this. Remember, you can do this however you want. You can put a big old base up here if you want. I just tried to make it compact and simple as possible. You will want to finish putting triangles here in all the corners, and go all the way up to the top if you want these spire looking things. Add this decoration if you like. Then we'll add a couple solid blocks to the front here, and then we'll fill in the roof. Alright, after we put the roof on, all the rest of this is just superficial. Feel free to decorate it how you want. I thought this looked pretty cool, kind of looked like a Lord of the Rings sort of tower. And I'm going to add some campfires up here too. I thought it looked cool, like a big signal fire. Alright, for the control room, I just stuck a couple scaffolding ladders in the front and then a couple hatches so you can flip one down if you still want to fight over it. Next, you want to either add a generator or a battery bank behind the blocks so they don't get hit by spit, and put your switch up on the wall too behind the block. After your generator's powered up, feel free to add lights wherever you want. Then you want to wire the generator to the switch. Next up, we're going to wire directly from the generator to the relay on the outside. That way the electric fences are always running if the generator's running. Then we're going to go from that relay to the bottom electric fences. Do not go to the top or you'll have to restring the electric fences. And you'll want to go back and forth and make individual connections to each wire. Alright, we'll put a few pillar 0.05 meters centered as the walkway out front. Now you can go test them out if you like. Every single wire should be hot and should zap you. Alright, that one works. And just check each one. And they all look like they're good. Alright, now we can wire up the dart traps. We're going to go from the switch to each dart trap, individual connections. That way we can turn them on and off and you don't waste ammo. And be careful not to click on those fence posts or you will have to rewire them. Alright, now that we have those wired up, we're going to connect this to the other relay, not the first one. And then go from that relay to the dart traps below. And just like earlier, you're going to do individual connections to each one. Then to test them out, just load them all up with darts, flip the switch, and click on each box to see if the number's going down. Now that you got everything wired up, just close up the junction box. We'll put a plate on the side. Looks like we can't build here, so I'm going to put in pillar 0.025 1/2. We'll just stick one of those on each side, and then it'll let me put plate on top. Alright, now that it's all set up, let's just put plate over all the openings. And this one near the top here, we'll knock out some scaffolding ladder and put some solid blocks in, because we're not going to be fighting up there. Not from the outside anyway. Actually, we can knock out a couple more. We just need enough clearance to walk underneath it. Alright, then we're going to cover up this side with plate. Alright, now we'll just have a look around and see what else needs plate. I guess we never close this side up. We'll use the double bars here, the bent bars, and then put some scaffolding up top. We'll just cover up this side, and it's looking pretty good. And it looks like these loot chutes are actually off by a block, so I'm going to raise them up by 1 block. I'll have to re-add an air duct cap, and then we could put plate over it. And we'll stick one over this one too. Alright, let's check it out from the inside. And it looks like I forgot to put a air duct ramp cover over this one, so we'll do that. Then we'll stick some L-shaped bars over that. Which reminds me, we need to put the L-shaped bars over every single step from top to bottom. This is going to make the steps twice as strong. Just make sure they're laid out in this orientation to where they're on the top and covering the side of the next step above. Alright, we do need to make the landing at the top a little bigger. We're going to use a ramp outside corner full. Alright, we'll add a triangle, a ramp outside corner full, and a ramp inside corner full. And if you got a robotic sledge, that's a great place to plop it down. Just put it perpendicular to the bars. Next up, put some spike traps on the roof to keep the vultures away, and you won't be able to place them right away, so I just put a sheet on the wall so it has something to attach to, and then you're good to go. Light your campfires if you want, and we never finished the steps, so throw down some steps, and you're good to go for a Horde day. And now I'll just fire up a day 7000 Horde to test it out. Day 700, day 7000, either one's going to get you max game stage if you're at level 300. Here's the equation for game stage if you were wondering about it. I'm not sure if that's changed from 2.0, but I doubt it. Either way, your player level is by far the biggest factor. Something else I learned when making this build, if you type in a date to give you a Horde day, you will get different mobs than if it happens organically. Now, I'm not sure if this is a bug or not, but I found this out by accident. I was doing some testing, quit out of the game, came back later. So when I typed in the Horde day, I was not getting demos, direwolves, dogs, spider jumpers, plague spitters, and maybe a few others. When I quit out and came back, I did get them, so keep that in mind for testing. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me over 2 weeks with the step-by-step build included, so if you liked it, be sure to give me a like and subscribe, and if you'd like to see more unique builds. If you didn't check out my last build, you can see it up here, or check out one of my other videos. Thanks, and I'll see you all again next time.